Good morning, everyone. My name is Brent Comerford. Welcome to Kick Media. Today's webinar topic is called 4 Pillars of Marketing Success. But before we get underway, I'll just do a quick sound check, please. Can everyone in the room please type in yes into the chat box if you can hear me loud and clear, please. Excellent, fantastic. All right, let's get underway. So as I said, today's topic, 4 Pillars of Marketing Success. We'll go through, last week actually we covered the solving your digital puzzle, which focused on deciding which pieces of the puzzle to use for your business, then visualizing it with a mind map, and then putting an action plan together using a Gantt chart. So basically last week was about direction or a roadmap. This week, however, it's all about how we drive the car, or our strategy for coming first ahead of your competitors. And it starts with understanding 4 principles or pillars, I guess, that should be applied to any type of marketing strategy that you do. And the 4 pillars are obviously target better quality traffic, convert more traffic into sales, convert more leads into sales, and track where leads and sales come from. Now, I could spend at least an hour discussing the ins and outs of each pillar. So this week, I'll just focus on the first pillar, target better quality traffic. So let's move on. Now, there may be a bit of a delay with the screen, so just let me know if there is on your end. So the first one is buyer motivated traffic. Now, unless you have a multi-million-dollar marketing budget and your goal is general brand awareness to almost anyone like Coke or Pepsi, then you need to focus on targeting better quality traffic or audiences. So, this means targeting what we refer to as buyer motivated traffic. There are different levels of buyer motivation which you need to prioritize according to your business goals and your marketing. So let's talk about it. So the first one is, I guess if you have a small marketing budget, this is probably the most profitable place to start. And it's focusing on traffic that is currently shopping to buy your product or service right now. They know what they want and are ready to make a decision. Okay. And in fact, if you have a large marketing budget, even you should be saturating your share of voice or your budget targeting this audience first before any other. The only time you should move on to the next phase of targeting, which I'll show you in a second, is if you have saturated all available search traffic targeting the most motivated buyers. We also refer to this sort of audience as intent-based audience. They're searching for exactly what you have to offer. So it's really just a matter of being able to locate who these people are and sticking your hand out and saying, hey, here I am. And as long as your brand and website is more attractive with a better offer than your competitors, it can be a very profitable audience to start with. The challenge, however, is because this audience is so motivated to buy right now, your competitors also know this, and the economy of advertising demand means that it's also more expensive, especially on Google. So if you are going to go after this audience, you need to have the very best conversion strategy in place, which includes a fantastic looking website that commands trust. It's optimized for conversion. And always knowing what your competitors are doing, that's extremely important. You can't really convert well if you don't know what your competitors are offering at the same time as you. And have a lead conversion funnel and point of sale script and a really good offer that will blitz your competitors, basically. You'll also need to have Google Analytics extremely well set up so that you can track everything and know where to allocate your marketing dollars. But we'll talk more about lead and sales conversion tactics in other webinar sessions. So let's ask the question: what are the marketing channels that are best used to target this audience? So, well, unfortunately, there isn't a lot, and Google is #1. And again, unfortunately, it's also the most expensive, especially over the last few years. So let's talk about each one. Obviously, Google. People are, again, it represents 92 or 93% of the intent-based search traffic in Australia. People are looking for exactly what you have to offer. And again, that's the easiest place to stick your hand out and say, hey, here I am. And as long as you have all the other conversion aspects in place, you can do really well. But again, getting expensive. So you've got to make sure that your website is 100%. Your conversion strategy, 100%. Everything I just said before, and remarketing in place and other things as well, if Google's going to work for you. Yahoo, which is part of Google's Search Partner Network, so it's actually now happened, I think, a year and a half ago. Google bought out their network, or the search network for it. So if you go and search on Yahoo, you're actually now part of Google's network, and you can target that through the Google AdWords platform. We just need to tick Search Partner Network, and it does work quite well. I've been testing it for a while, and it does work. I actually prefer it over Bing. Funny enough, I've been getting better results with the Search Partner Network than Bing. Bing, however, is still good. It's definitely a small market. It's less than 6% or 4% of the market. I don't know the stats at the moment, but it's pretty small. In America, it's pretty big. It does get traffic, and it's good for mainstream industries where there's a lot of search traffic. If you're looking for your local plumber or your electrician or an accountant, mainstream industries where there's lots of search volume, it can be a really good option because those mainstream industries are just really expensive on Google. The challenge with Bing, however, it just doesn't convert. Even though you may get a lot cheaper traffic, that traffic has a much lower conversion rate. We generally find that the traffic on Google is just a better motivated, intent-based audience than Bing is, but still worth trying Bing. It's one of those ones you just need to try and see for your industry if it works or not. Online business directories. Oh, look, there's tons of them around. Go for the big ones. Some of the paid ones are probably worth going on, especially if they're ranking #1. True Local and Hot Frog, and there's lots of different online business directories. Basically, just type in your industry into Google, and the business directories that are showing #1 or in the top 3 positions, they're the ones to go for, obviously, because they're the ones getting all the traffic. And be mindful that they may be ranking well in your location, but they may not be ranking well in Sydney or Melbourne, and you need to do a different type of search to be able to see what people see in different geographic regions. So there is a way to do that in AdWords to do a Google Ad preview search, or you can just change the settings on the Google browser to search in that location. Gumtree, look, Gumtree is surprisingly effective for phase 1 targeting. It's people actually searching for something and wanting to buy. It fits into the category. I actually advise a lot of my tradies and home services type clients to put ads on Gumtree. You'll be surprised it actually does work. In fact, it works better than Yellow Pages, which is what Yellow Pages is at the bottom. eBay, great for products. Again, it's not a services-based platform, but products, fantastic. Amazon, also good. And again, Yellow Pages, unfortunately, lucky last, poor thing. It's really declined over the years. And look, it can be good for if you sell products that where your target audience is the older generation or demographic. For example, I have a client who sells the old style security grills, and there's a lot of areas where they still have that, and it's older demographic areas that go for those grills because that's what they're used to, and it works for them. I've got a client, and Yellow Pages works for them. They still type that in. And they go to Yellow Pages because that's what they used when they were younger. So again, the older demographic works well. So it depends. So they're the phase 1 targeting categories that I recommend. Now let's have a look at it. I guess an example of someone searching to buy right now for your product and service, just so that we can compare it to phase 2 when we get there in a second. Now it's all about understanding keyword psychology and the real intent behind certain words being used to search something. And we often refer to ourselves as search psychologists sometimes. Okay, so here's some examples. Someone typing in plumber. Look, it's not an irrelevant search term, but emergency plumber, that's someone searching now. Okay, if your bathroom's flooding or you need someone out there to fix it straight away, that is someone very, very intent focused, someone who's ready to buy now. Phase 1 targeting. Plumber still maybe, but they may be planning to do a renovation, and they may be planning for something in the future. Carpet cleaner versus flood damage carpet cleaner. That's been a popular term, especially recently in Brisbane. I don't know about where you are in Australia, but Brisbane's had a lot of that recently. So that's certainly a phase 1 motivated buyer. Digital camera, very generic. That's someone who doesn't really know what they're looking for versus Nikon SLR 5000. Someone who's specifically looking for something they know what they want basically. And concrete cleaning versus, design addresses versus design addresses online. The simple addition of the word online means that they're willing to purchase something online as opposed to window shopping. There's a lot of people that go to like fashion site, or they do a lot of comparison research type analysis online, but they never intend on actually purchasing online. So if you are an e-commerce store, having the word online can actually filter out or differentiate those people, those who are not motivated buyers. Concrete cleaning versus concrete cleaner Brisbane, location keywords are powerful. The only reason someone ever types a location keyword into Google is if they're ready to take action. Okay, they need someone to help them because they want to know where they are. So great keywords. How to clean tiles versus tile cleaning service. You know, the how-to is a very much a research DIY, do-it-yourself type search term. Tile cleaning service. The word service alone means that you want someone to come and help you. So again, key differences there. Pool fencing versus pool fencing quotes. Again, differentiate the word quotes is I guess targeting that motivated buyer who wants a price. They're not just, you know, and because they want a quote, generally it means they want it sooner. They want it now. They've gone through the phases of what type of fence they want. They want glass fence. They decided, you know, exactly what they need. They now are ready to take action, so they need a quote. Okay, so again, psychology of timing. And then I added two more in there: wedding planner versus mortgage broker. Now, again, not necessarily, more so industry-related examples of people that are not motivated buyers in phase one. So someone as a wedding planner, they're planning for an event or something in the future. So they may search now and cost you money, but by clicking on your ads, but they're planning for an event 6 months down the track. So they may not make a decision straight away. And a mortgage broker, if you're searching for a loan, you're getting advice. You're in the very early stages. They're two industries that, again, very, very difficult to work on, especially to get highly motivated people ready to buy now. So now there is also an opportunity to find micro niche audiences in your industry, and this is part of phase one targeting. And if you're clever, you can think of these audiences that I guess that your competitors haven't thought yet to target. For example, if you're a bookkeeper, if you are targeting people searching Bookkeepers Brisbane, you know, you're competing against every other bookkeeper paying, you know, top dollar for this audience. But if you found a micro niche like bookkeeping for restaurants or bookkeeping for tradies, there is some search traffic for it. Not a lot, but the competition is also much less. So it's more targeted. So it's a bit different. It falls into phase one as a motivated buyer because it is so targeted and relevant to a specific inquiry. And if you have a conversion page focused on the same message, you know, bookkeeping for restaurant, conversion rate will be very, very high. Okay. Now, the second phase of the targeting we refer to is targeting traffic currently researching to buy your service at some point in the near or distant future. Now, this could be a few days, weeks, or months, depending on your industry. And I guess that same example was obviously mortgage brokers or wedding planners. Okay, so they're not ready to make a decision now. These audiences are planning for something in the future. It might be a wedding dress, a wedding cake, party planning. You know, so it's planning for an event or a future date of some sort, or maybe even an education course starting in the new year. Okay, or it could be something you need to review or research online first. Laptops, for example, are commonly reviewed online in terms of what are the best brands, what are the latest technologies. A bit of research involved there, or they may just not know what they want, so they're typing in generic keywords like, you know, computers or laptops or digital cameras. You know, or if you're in the education industry, you know, maybe business courses as opposed to certificate for in business. You know, you don't know what type of business course you want to do. So again, you're in that early stages. And maybe it's a higher price item, so it has a longer consideration phase, maybe a car or a new TV, or a product that requires a lot of comparison, maybe a personal loan or credit card rates. Or maybe you're in industries where brand consideration is very high. So, for example, comparing whether to get Android versus iOS, you know, or Samsung versus LG. You know, you may also have repeat purchase or consumable products or services, which means they may want to buy now and in the future, which is the best product to advertise online, by the way. So, I generally find the lifetime value of a client, if you've got a lot of repeat purchases or it's a consumable item, paying a premium for a click is okay, knowing that you've got a long-term value. So again, that's another one where it's quite valuable. It's still part of phase number 2, but you can get a sale now and in the future. Now, this audience is much larger than the first one. It's targeting people in the very early stages of the buying cycle, and it can have pros and cons. The con is that they are researching. If they are researching, you may not convert them into a lead or a client the first time they visit your website. Most websites have less than a 5 or 10% conversion rate. So don't expect every click to your site to be a profitable lead or inquiry. So Google AdWords on its own is not enough, in my opinion. You need additional strategies to recapture them into a contactable lead or into a customer at some point in the future after they've exited your website. So let's take a look at some of the marketing techniques to recapture audiences in the early stages of the buying cycle. Next slide. So there's a few here. Site remarketing, where no lead details are required. So if you understand remarketing, people come to your site, they get tagged with a cookie, they exit your website, and they get followed around the internet for the next 3 to 6 months on websites that are part of Google's display network. It might be Facebook, YouTube, not Facebook, sorry, YouTube, eBay, Amazon. There's millions. What might be a weather site, might be a travel blog. Doesn't matter what site they go to. What's important is they've been to your site previously, and now they're seeing your ad. You may have noticed it when you go and shop online. It just seems like you're being followed around the internet. That's site remarketing or display remarketing. And there's a few different types. So you've got YouTube remarketing, search remarketing, Facebook remarketing, or retargeting, they call it, for Facebook. And these are the top 4 here. These ones don't require any lead details. Okay. So no leads, no contact details required. We don't know who they are, but we know where they're going to be, and we can recapture them into a lead at some point in the future. So ideal for phase 2 audiences that you're targeting, people that are researching, comparing, they're in consideration. The early, maybe they're typing in generic keywords, they don't know what they want yet. They're less likely to convert straight away as compared to those long tail keywords we talked about. So we want to be able to recapture them when they're ready to make a decision, once they've made that decision to capture them at a later stage. If you do have their contact details, email marketing, text message marketing, scripted follow-up calls, all very effective strategies. Again, we'll talk about sales conversion tactics in other webinars in the future. But yeah, these are, I guess, actions that you can implement to target or retarget, I guess, these types of people. And I'll give an example, I guess, where this type of targeting is quite effective. Because obviously the downfall, the con, is that they're not going to convert, less likely to convert on the first time they visit your website. However, let me give you an example or a bit of a story. I used to manage a large AdWords account for a well-known legal firm here in Australia, and a popular term used was injured at work. Now this had a lot of search volume, but this audience was in the very early stages of research, and it had a very low conversion rate the first time we come to your site or the first search they made. However, we worked with it, and it ended up becoming quite a profitable keyword. Now, let me explain. Now, the company was spending around $2 million a year on AdWords, so we'd already saturated the available search traffic for high converting terms like workplace compensation lawyer or personal injury lawyer, Brisbane. So the next logical choice was to begin spending money to capture audiences in the earlier research stages. They weren't in the decision phases yet, they were still researching. Now, 2 benefits. One, being able to obtain a lead before your competitors can, especially those with lower marketing budgets. And secondly, we also found although they were first typing in terms like injured at work or workplace injury, we learned that in the same browser session, they would learn how to search better to find more relevant search results or what they. So their second or third search was, compensation lawyers, Brisbane, or personal injury lawyers, Brisbane. So we captured a much larger audience before our competitors were able to, and only because we had the budget of to do so. It was our competitors couldn't, and it was a lower return on investment, however. But only after we saturated the high conversion channels. But the goal was to capture a bigger market. Okay, so as you move into phase 2 targeting, don't expect the same ROI as phase 1 targeting, but you will expand to a much bigger audience, which equals obviously more sales, more revenue, okay, or more conversions in terms of volume. Okay, now let's have a look at the next phase of targeting, which is phase 3. And it really, people who are the correct target audience and are not currently shopping or researching to buy your product or service, but they may do in the future. Okay, so the next question becomes, who is my target audience for that? Let's have a look at that. Now, who is my target audience? Well, I guess there's a few questions to ask before you decide who your target audience is. You need to understand who they are first before you can be able to target them. And so I've got some questions here that we generally go through when we're answering this. And obviously the first one is, what else are they likely interested in? Are they, let me give you an example first. We have a driving school client, and the challenge there is there's only so much search volume for people typing in driving lessons, driving, obviously driving schools Brisbane, and we pretty much saturate that. We're one of the biggest in Brisbane. So we need to kind of, if they want to spend more money to capture people in the earlier research phases, or even then, if they're not researching, who are the people that are likely interested in the future? Now, targeting someone who's eventually going to get driving lessons, we know who they are. They're teenage kids usually, most, not always, but most of it. And they're in the age bracket of 16, or actually I'm not sure what age you have to be to get your license these days, 16 to 18 up to 20 years old. That's the audience. So who are they? What are they interested in? Okay, obviously, what's the latest music they're interested in? What's the latest things what are the latest trends at that age that they're into? What are the latest crazes? So you need to understand people of that audience. What are they interested in? What lifestyles do they lead? Okay, we know they go to school. We know that they finish school at 3:10 in the afternoon. I think that's I've forgotten what time you finish school nowadays. And they finish school around 3 o'clock in the afternoon. They're home by about 4. So we know what time of day. We know that they're generally procrastinating type people. So they obviously probably getting nagged by their parents to go and get your license. So maybe they're going to come to your site multiple times before they eventually pick up the phone. So definitely going to need remarketing. How do they consume information at different times of the day? Well, we know that they generally, who knows, maybe they're up late researching, maybe they are generally on YouTube, so they obviously, generally the younger market are watching videos on YouTube. What are they likely to be and when? Okay, time of day devices. We know that they're mostly always on their mobile phone during the day and at night times. They're probably the highest consumers of information on a mobile device, so we definitely know the device we need to use. Age, gender, consumer behavior, we know that. What are the other products are they likely interested in? So what else do they buy? So we can do search remarketing. So if they've been to your site, we can recapture the next time they type in, surfing clothes or surfboards or something. We can recapture them that way through search remarketing. What is their decision buying process? So how often do they, so we've used Google Analytics to understand that audience. Now we can access and get amazing information using Google Analytics, and obviously when people are logged in to Google, all that information is transferable to the Google Analytics platform. We can look at age demographics. What is the time path to conversion? What is the multi-channel attribution? So they go to Facebook, they see your ad and remarketing, they do organic search, we can track that path. So again, we can build a picture of who your audience is, what is their behavior, and what do they do. And with that, we can start to implement some interesting push advertising campaigns. Whereas phase 1 and 2 is pull marketing. They're actively searching for it. Phase 1, they want it now. Phase 2, they may not want it straight away, but they want it. They're searching for something in the near future, but they definitely want it. Phase 3, they don't necessarily want it now, but we know that they're going to likely want it at some point in the near future. i.e. being, I guess, a kid needing to get his license at some point over the next 12 to 24 months. Okay, so it's a slightly longer strategy. So what are the advertising channels for phase 3 targeting? Let's have a look at that. So let's have a quick look. So we have a few here now. I won't read through all of them because obviously we want to keep it short. And a lot of this is already on the website. You can read this on our website, but let's read the first few. Google AdWords, Yahoo, Bing, but you can use push marketing methods, not necessarily. It's probably a more expensive way to do it because of the cost per click, but you can use Google Display Network, which works on a cost per 1,000 views as opposed to clicks, but you can still do a lot of targeting that way. Premium display features, ideal for brand association really only. Facebook advertising, LinkedIn advertising, social media networking, content strategies, trading and exit traffic with other websites using referral remarketing, promotional offers on purchase thank you pages of other websites, data mining, and then direct mail and other things. Again, there's a whole range of channels you can do for this audience. Now, this is phase 3. I wouldn't go to this level of targeting unless you're a medium to large business. If you're a small, medium business or a small business, you really should be focused on phase 1 and 2 targeting. This is really when you're getting into, you've already saturated phase 1 and 2 and you've got more money to spend and you want to capture a bigger share of voice or a bigger audience, then you go to phase 3. Okay, so this is not for everyone. But if you want to read about it, go to our website. You just go to the homepage and then you'll see the 4 you'll see the first one, targeting better quality traffic. And lastly, we have, I forgot to update this here to phase 4, but phase 4 targeting. Now, phase 4 targeting is interesting. It's basically people currently researching information about your product, service, or industry, and there's no motivation to purchase your product, and it's usually for general research or general information. So what are the types of traffic that fit into this category? Well, firstly, the question is you want to avoid this audience is first priority. And the way to do that, I mean, this is people that are, you know, they're looking to the research, they're window shoppers, they're looking to research online, but they're never going to buy online, or the people that are DIY, you know, how to clean my tiles, you know, as opposed to finding a tile cleaner in Brisbane, how to wash my how to clean blinds, as opposed to finding someone that does that as a service. So you want to avoid obviously the how-to type keywords, people looking for jobs, people DIY type traffic. But often the best way to avoid the wrong traffic is to target better quality traffic in the first place. Okay, and that means having a well-structured AdWords account, use action and intent-based keywords, so locations, long-tail keywords, avoid generic information keywords, like I said, and use negative keywords to avoid them. If you're in phase 3 targeting, if you're a bigger brand, then you'd use audience filters like age, location, interest, topics, contextual targeting, a whole heap of them. Now, when I audit accounts, what I find quite alarming is, and particularly AdWords accounts, what I find quite alarming is that at least 30% or more of the traffic they're paying for is information traffic. You know, they have poor match types, the generic keywords that are not really action or long tail based. And the best way to do this is to obviously look at the structure of your account. And I often say structure your AdWords account as if you're talking to someone face to face. So someone asks you a question, your keyword that you have in your account is the question, and the ad copy is the answer. And it needs to be, each ad group needs to be directly answering every single person searching on Google and asking a question. If your ad isn't 100% relevant, then you're not going to get a great result. Okay, it's going to cost you a lot of money. So a good way to check that is in your AdWords account. Learn how to check your search term report, what people actually type into Google that results in a click. That's the best way to start learning how to avoid the wrong audience. So good audience is a phase 1, 2, and 3. Bad audience is phase 4. Sorry, I meant to update this to phase 4, but typo there. So phase 4, bad. Okay, go back. You're going the wrong way. Okay. So hopefully that gives you guys enough information on, I guess, how we approach our targeting strategies. If there's any questions, I'll stick around and answer them in the chat box. But otherwise, appreciate your time today and the topic of 4 pillars. The first pillar was covered today. Next week, we'll cover the second pillar and then the third and the fourth in the future. All right, thanks for your time, and we'll see you again next week.